gotten into the eFinders, and she has did some DIYs, do-it-yourself versions, and he's been heavily involved with all the people who are developing this version.
Okay, so we're not here to see the scope, which is the polar opposite of raw brand scope. This is definitely not 28 pounds or whatever the scope runs, but we're here to see these two devices that are on the end. So these are the eFinders. So what eFinder is it's a plate solving system that works with the Nexus digital setting circles. And if you're not sure what plate solving is, basically what it does is it uses a camera and a lens and takes a picture of the sky and figures out all the stars that are around and determines your exact pointing position. And so with this scope, it's a very large, heavy scope. There's orthogonality issues and stuff, and so I used to be able to do a go-to, and it would put the object probably within eyepiece of a 40 pan or a 31 maglet, but not always. With eFinder, it will put it almost dead center at 1000x, so it's made a huge difference. And so if you were here 13 months ago, I did a presentation on the large one, which is the open source version. It was a do-it-yourself open source project, but you needed a 3D printer, you needed to assemble 3 different Raspberry Pi boards, and you really need to know Linux and not be afraid of Linux operating systems. So it was kind of beyond, a lot of people's abilities. And so working with the person that developed the Nexus Digital Setting Circle, he was very interested in this project and decided to actually start working towards a commercial release. And the little one here, this is not one of the commercial versions, but it's very close. This was one of the pre-release build your own. There was probably 30 or 40 people across the world that were building their own and providing feedback to them. And so it's the same thing, except now it interfaces directly with the Nexus Digital Setting Circles. And it is your control source, where this one had buttons on it and a display. And so that meant for me, do a go-to, find the letter, see if the object's in or no, hit the OK button, climb back down, see if it's done the go-to successfully, climb back up, look to see if it, So there was a lot of ladder climbing, where now everything is centralized down at the digital setting circle. Now, in use, what will this do for you? Yes, it does plate solving and gives you very accurate results. Another thing it does is when you want to do a 2-star alignment, I can just take the scope, go like this and go, that's star 1, and go over here and go, that's star 2, and I'm done. I don't have to look through the eyepiece and center it. It doesn't matter, because it's going to plate solve, determine exactly where it is, and then use that as the star limits. So for me, again, with a scope where you got to climb up a ladder a whole bunch of times, and no, player's a little far away, I'll have to climb back down, move it a little, it's saving me a lot of steps. Yes. I have got over 20,000 steps. So, all vertical. Yeah.
Can you compare this to the eFinder?
Yeah, so, and that's a good question in multiple ways. So the eFinder is very useful because you don't need encoders at all. And so it's completely encoder free. As you move the scope, the eFinder will use accelerators to estimate where you're moving the scope. Then it will also be trying to plate solve every once in a while to more accurately figure out where you're pointing. And when you stop moving, then it will do a final plate solve. And so it's extremely useful because it doesn't use encoders. You don't have that difficulty. Now, this system, you actually can also use it in that mode. So it gives you the option to do both. And then the biggest option is you can now buy them directly from Astro devices, and you don't have to build them. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
you showed us swiveling back and forth. Don't you have to do an offset first on like Polaris?
You do. So you first have to do an offset to make sure that the optical axis of the telescope and the optical axis of the plate solver are aligned. But if you don't move the camera, the plate solver again, then you don't have to repeat that. Yeah.
Right.
Can you explain how it works without the Nexus for folks who like just want to use their phone or a tablet?
Yeah. So without the Nexus, the eFinder will support running without a Nexus, and then it will connect via Wi-Fi to Sky Safari. And so you can move it around and it will plate solve until Sky Safari where you're pointing and update the map on Sky Safari real time.
You can do those go-tos from Nexus too.
Yes, yes. Everything can be done now from the ground from the Nexus because there's no display, no buttons on the neighbors.
Any more questions?
And so it's a finished product.
It is. It looks.
There's no option to build or.
There
I
is
thought I
still
heard
an
open
option to
source.
build.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they even sell parts if you want. There is on the commercial version. There's a customized board, which helps integrate with one of the new versions of ServoCAT. And so if you have a new version of ServoCAT, you'll want to either purchase one or get this little interface board. And you can buy that also from Woodland Hills, and or you can just build one yourself. So like that one up there, it's it's a pi board, pi camera, and that's it. And a lens. So there's no soldering, there's no difficult work. You need a 3D printer or a friend with a 3D printer, but other than that. But yes, it's all the software is still open source, and so you can download the software and build your own.
What's the name of it?
It's eFinder. Yeah. Yes, Dan.
I was wondering what the accuracy of the plate solve is. I have two questions. The second question is there ever any false plate solves, like say you're in the Milky Way or something?
I haven't had any false plate solves. I've had times when it couldn't solve. So you get solve failures, especially, well, when you have clouds or smoke in the sky, it can have problem solving. And then as far as accuracy, so I accidentally handed Steve the wrong eyepiece. It was a 3.5 millimeter, so on the scope that's 1000x. And we were doing go-tos all around the sky, and it was just dead center. Yes. So when you're looking for a 13 mag galaxy, you can at least be sure that you are in the right spot, whether you can see it or not.
So unlike the eFinder, there's really no hesitation or gaps. It's pretty fluid.
The Pi Finder has a little hesitation and little gaps. So especially if you're moving far or moving fast,
Yeah.
it will get a little upset.
I've seen that. And then,
Yeah.
so this one here,
This one doesn't because it's talking to encoders. So it gets the data real time. It doesn't use any accelerometers to estimate where you are.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
So
it does need
No. No. As soon as I point it up and it does one plate solve, I'll know where it is.
You ever get slip on the encoders down here?
I don't, but also it wouldn't matter because it'll do a plate solve and then it'll go, oh, you're not really where you think you're pointing, and set an offset and then exactly. So I do a go-to, I do a plate solve, and actually repeat a go-to because what the plate solve does is say you're not really here, you're here, and so then it knows to drive closer.
Okay, thanks, Craig.
Thanks.